While the accolades are immeasurable, first time I've ever seen teammates get triple doubles in the same game in NBA playoff history. 5 consecutive finals, 4 straight playoff games for Steph with 35 plus. And give all the credit in the world to Dame, CJ, and that group. Just terrific job by Terry Stotts and his group in this postseason. But the run is over. The sweep is in. We are here. We'll hear from coaches and players along the way. Game Time Live, the playoff edition. Casey Stern, GA, Channing Frye. And Greg, I'll start with you because in knowing how difficult it is to make that run to even get to a finals one time, think about just the idea that anyone, I don't care what era or who's playing, to do it 5 consecutive seasons.
It's an incredible accomplishment when you factor in all that goes into accomplishing it, right? You know, you deal with adversity, with help, with defections, with new players, the mental toll that it takes because you have that bullseye on your back. And there's a reason why we haven't seen it done since the 60s. It's been incredible. And then, you know, this game was kind of a microcosm of the run, right? No Andre Iguodala, no Kevin Durant, no DeMarcus Cousins. And you go out and you get a historic performance from Portland. You know, Myers Leonard with an incredible first half. Steph Curry plays 47 minutes in this game. Draymond was brilliant as well. And they didn't quit. And it wasn't just their stars who were terrific, but Looney, McKinney, Bell, all these guys played a role. All of them made big plays down the stretch that allowed them. Their defense was phenomenal as well down the stretch in this game. And it's just, you know, you don't have enough words to really give what's proper in terms of the context that the Warriors deserve. I mean, arguably the greatest team we have ever seen. You know, think about the guys who didn't play in this game for them. Think about that.
You mentioned Boogie Cousins. I was like,
yeah.
Oh yeah, Boogie's on this team.
Yeah, I mean, it's an incredible run, man, and for the resiliency, because it's easy to let this one go.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Go home.
It's
right?
easy. We'll finish it up at home, but they refuse. And Steve Kerr sent the message. No, Steph, you're going to play this whole second half. We're not, and overtime for that matter. And they found a way, man. It was, and that was a hell of a game. Like that was. Arguably, I had the pleasure to do Game 7 with Toronto and Philly, and that was an incredible game. Yeah. This is arguably the best game we've had in the postseason, and we've had a lot of really good ones, but this game, it had everything. And, wow, what a way to end it on the road in overtime in the closeout.
Yeah, we'll talk a lot about Portland on this show, so I want to get to, because I was saying this to Channing watching the end of the game, I can give a lot of credit. The compete level, the fight, which certainly is what they follow in their leader in Dame Lillard. But having seen this up front on the court and knowing how good this group can be, I remember telling you about this pregame, and now I got to ask it again. When you look at what Steph and Dre, is this, in some ways, it seems like the list of, they've impressed me was over. There's nothing else on the list. But is in some ways what they're doing, the level that Steph has raised to since KD's gone out, actually added another notch onto the list of where you see him in terms of his legacy.
Yeah, I think he just becomes one of the greatest teammates of all time.
Yeah.
If you're that
and leaders,
good,
right?
If you could just turn it on like that and not only do it one game, not 2, not 3, but 4 against that level of competitor you're playing in Portland, it shows you how good he is. That he could just flip a switch and become, you were the greatest player? Now I'm the greatest player playing the game right now. And so that's what's amazing. And while, obviously, we've been competitors, now I'm on this side, I just have to sit back and be like, this is amazing to watch. That is such good basketball, and the way he's passing and rebounding, and he's playing good ball. And that's like, it's exciting to watch.
Well, I think he's the only second player ever to score at least 35 in 4 consecutive
4 straight,
games.
that's right.
Like that in and of itself is a huge accomplishment. And they just, as a team, and he obviously as an individual, continue to rewrite the history books with what they've accomplished. And again, it's hard to impress upon people how impressive it is to go to 5 consecutive finals. I mean, that's incredible. Like for a team, again, the mental toll, because they played a couple extra seasons in essence over this run, and then mentally, the anxiety, the intensity, the focus that you need. You've played in multiple finals.
The need to want to win.
Right.
And
the
like,
hunger,
why does
right?
this matter?
Right.
You know, like their intensity is ridiculous. And if you look, we were talking about halftime how hard he has to work for every possession, and this man plays 47 minutes. Yeah. Right? And does that consistently, and he's been doing that over 5 seasons, and to do it as a championship shows not only how committed he is to this game, but to himself and to his teammates. And, you know, we talk about Steph and we talk about, Draymond, but just the way that their whole team plays for each other. When guys come in, I was saying, listen, Alfonso McKinney, no offense, but like this is a championship level team in a closeout game, and he comes in and gives you huge rebounds. And they're all prepared, all ready, all locked in. That's a matter of what are your leaders doing on a consistent basis and what they've shown them as a championship level of playing ball.
Yeah, maybe no better example of that than Kevon Looney we'll talk about during this show because, again, fantastic. But I got to go back to Steph because I hate the rhetoric of, they're better without Look, Kevin Durant is one of the greatest players ever when we talk about his skill set, and he is the unicorn, no offense to Porzingis. But do you think, GA, in some ways, because it is difficult to match the hunger of year 1, 2, 3, think about how many years in a row we're talking about this. Did it turn a different switch for this core group when they lost KD in terms of having to lock in a different way and refocus that has energized? Because they do look like, from an energizing standpoint, that focus is turned. Is it fair to say that? It's not an anti-KD thing,
right.
But is that a fair assessment?
Honestly, I think it helped them to lose KD and Cousins. And it sounds weird to say that, but it helped them because of what you just said. Because now we have to rally.
Right?
Yeah. We got to rally around what we have if we want to have a chance, right? Because now you don't go into it with the same level of expectation. Now there's more doubt. There's more uncertainty. It gives confidence to others when you don't have those guys. And so sometimes it allows your team to kind of rally around the fact that those guys aren't there. And you're right, it does. It unleashed Steph. And, he was incredible, but their team, they are the consummate team. The way they play for one another, the way nothing rattles them. And this is where, having gone through all they've gone through over the last 4 years, now 5 years, helps in these moments. How many times have we seen them in this exact same moment? Where their back was against the wall, where they had to make the plays down the stretch in order to win it. It wasn't a scenario where the other team just gave it to them. They had to make big plays in this game, offensive rebounds, big shots. Draymond hits that huge three there to almost seal the deal for him. In essence, it did seal it. So, you got to tip your cap and appreciate this. And as fans of basketball, people go their whole life and never experience this, right? You had the Jordan generation. Yep. Where they got the 6 and 8 years, and now you're having the Warrior generation, where you're going to have all these fans, all these young people grow up watching the game played this way. What an opportunity to have that happen if you're a young person right now.
Yeah, and look, I think when you look at styles of basketball, I know Rockets fans don't want to hear this. This is a brand of basketball. If you love the game and you play the game like the two of you guys did your whole life, we have kids, you want people to see. And that's the thing. They miss shots, right? Oh, yeah. They were down 17. But how many times do they take the bad shot? Even the guys that come in, they don't. You saw Looney on the Draymond play. Yeah. And look, he was being baited in to take one. Never even a thought. No. Make the right play. Make the Clay. Not going to take a tough shot. Extra little pass to Draymond. There's something about that that's just fun to watch. Not that they weren't doing that with KD, but he's a great safety valve. Anytime you can go to him, he can get a bucket, Channing, and they don't have that right now.
No, I think what happens when, we talked about it, is like when you don't have KD and DeMarcus, sometimes you rely on that talent. Like, you don't need the best of me. You just need my points or my rebounds. Really don't matter because you have DeMarcus is going to play. Now, Coach played 14 people. So everybody needs to be ready, and everybody contributed. So you're like, man, I got to be ready to go because Coach might need me in this situation today. I was talking about Quinn Cook. I was like, man, he had some big shots to get them the momentum and get them back. I think it was tied up or close. And I was like, if Kevin Durant's playing, is Quinn Cook going to get that ball? No. We're giving it to Kevin Durant. If it's not Kevin, it's Steph. If it's not Steph, it's Clay. And then to talk about how they play good basketball, they take the right shots, even if they missed a bunch. I was looking at Clay. He had missed, I think, 4 or 5, but he continued to shoot because it was the right shot. And he knew if he didn't take that shot, it would ruin his team's momentum. So sometimes, even if you're not having a great night, you got to take the right shot for your team to give them a chance to get the offensive rebound.
And to your point, Casey, about shot quality. Like that, their second team, they're 11, I think 11 of 23 or 12 of, what was it? No, I'm sorry, 13 of 23 from the field. You know, they were a collective plus 22 in the game. So their bench was huge tonight. And part of that is because they're collective, and I've said this before, Golden State's collective basketball IQ is really in uncharted territory. You just don't see a group of guys who have an understanding and appreciation of how the game's supposed to be played, and to Channing's point, where the shots are supposed to come from, where I'm supposed to be in relation to where the basketball is at all times, the understanding the importance of setting good quality screens, knowing how to play without the basketball. Now, the advantage they have is their best players, all three of them, when you put Durant out there, and actually say their 5 best players, because then you got to also throw Iguodala. They're all great without the basketball offensively. And that's what separates them from everybody else in this league, is the ability when your great players play without the basketball, when they know how to move and cut and screen and space, like your shot quality goes through the roof. You know, and when they all know it, that means you're rarely going to get caught where you have possessions where guys are taking shots they shouldn't. Like, you never see them roll their eyes at guys because they understand the game on the same level and they play accordingly, man. And it puts so much pressure on you. And you do tip your hat to Portland. I don't know that Portland could have played a better basketball game.
No.
No, and they didn't run away at all.
No. And listen, they had a shot.
Back. Portland went back and forth with them, right?
They had a shot at the end to win the game.
They did.
So, like, they and listen, and this is a Portland team that is undermanned.
Yes.
Listen, it's a hell of an accomplishment. This is not necessarily a conference final.
I mean, this is a great season.
Listen, if you broke down the Western Conference, they're not the second best team in the Western Conference.
No.
But you know what? You play the cards you're dealt. They got to the conference finals, and you have to applaud them for that.
You know, if we get a chance to hear from Terry Stotts.
We played them 3 really good games and couldn't get over the hump. But I think it was more of a demonstration of how good they are and how good they've been over the years, and they find ways to win. So it was a disappointing loss, but it was for me it was an outstanding season with. The guys in the locker room are special, and it's been a special season. It's always tough to lose the last game of the year, but I couldn't be more proud of the group that we've had.
Kerry Eggers, Portland Tribune. And Terry, you got another great performance from Myers Leonard, and I talk a little bit about that.
Again, he the first half was outstanding. I mean, 25 points, and he was playing with a lot of confidence. Certainly had an impact on the game, much like Game 3. And you know, again, we needed him. He played well, and I'm happy for him.
Terry, Mark Schwartz, ESPN. Your group has shown so much toughness and fight against adversity all season long, including the last 3 games. When you mentioned championship pedigree, what about that championship pedigree did you see that helped them overcome these double-digit deficits in the second half every time?
Well, they have a confidence about them. They feel like they're never out of a game, and they have the experience, and they've done it before. So, I mean, Draymond Green hitting a 3. I mean, Draymond carried him in Game 3 last game. You know, with his energy and his spirit. Defensively, they're experienced. They know how to make things difficult for opponents. They help each other. They pass. They trust each other. And I think it's when they have been rewarded year after year after year with that style of play, there's a reason to trust it.
Any left in the back, please? Yes.
Jamie Goldberg with the Oregonian. Terry, Damian Lillard obviously was playing through an injury through the series, but the game he had tonight, what does it mean for you to see the way he was able to play in this game to try to get you guys past the Warriors?
I've said it many times, Damian's not only is a special player, but he's a special person. And he's a great competitor, and he hates to lose and wants to do whatever it takes to win a game. And I think the way he competed tonight was a demonstration of that.
Dwight Jaynes, NBC Sports Northwest. Terry, what about this playoff run is going to help you guys moving forward, say, next year? What are you going to take away from this, do you think?
I think it's more it's more than just the playoff run. I think the fact that we had a very good regular season, the fact that we were able to win 2 series, we were very competitive in this series. Even though it was a sweep, we played competitively. But I think that's a long way away from now. I think when that time comes, we'll be able to reflect. I think it's a little too early to look at how this series helps us right now. Right now, it kind of stings.
Anyone else? There's some back, please, on the left.
Kevin Pelton, ESPN.com. When Dame put up that final shot, did you think it was going to be another miracle?
Yeah, I did. I thought it was gonna kind of meant to be, but when he shot it had good arc. Yeah, I thought it had a chance.
You're in the center on the left, please.
Kerry Eggers again. Terry, what 3.3 seconds? What kind of play did you want? What did you draw up?
Well, we had another timeout. I mean, that was Dame and CJ come off curls. If they switched it, Myers could slip down the lane. Getting Dame the ball over there was the first look, and if they screwed up a switch, maybe we get Myers going down the lane.
Thank you, Coach.
All right, thank you.
Season, Steve Kerr said to a media member, "We hang banners. That's our identity."
Steve Kerr
5
from the
straight
Golden
finals.
State Warriors. You're talking about them. I'm gonna. Before we start, I just want to say congrats to the Blazers on a fantastic year, and having played here for one season a long time ago, I've always loved this city, loved the fan base, the energy in this building. And this version of the Blazers over the last few years has been one of my favorite teams to watch. Have so much respect and admiration for Terry and his staff and the players. What Damian and CJ do as leaders and as a backcourt together, it's amazing to watch. And I know the city loves its team, and they should love this version of this team as much as any of them, because they're a great group. We had to fight and scrap. In the end, it's a sweep, but we had to scrap and claw for three of the 4 victories. So this was a lot more difficult than it may have appeared. So we're happy to move on, and happy to get a little rest before we have to play again. We'll open it up.
Gareth Burke, NBC Sports Bay Area. And going along with the difficulty, there are going to be people who look at this and see a sweep, think it was easy. What made it so challenging, whether it was the things that the Blazers were throwing at you or the injuries siphoning off your manpower? How did you guys persevere?
Well, our guys they've been at this for a while. So they know how to win. They know how to come back from deficits. And when you get this deep in the playoffs, you're playing against the best teams in the league. And this backcourt that you're dealing with McCollum and Lillard it's a nightmare trying to stay in front of them, and you have to commit help. You have to have a 5-man defensive effort, and that leaves you vulnerable in areas. I thought tonight they did their best job of exposing those vulnerabilities. Myers Leonard was fantastic, and they did a really good job of moving the ball. They had 31 assists, and our defense was shaky tonight, but we turned it up in the fourth quarter and in overtime and got it done. But it was an uphill climb the whole way.
Hey, Steve. Phil Barber, Santa Rosa Press Democrat. What did you think of the efforts of McKinney and Looney in overtime for you?
Well, I think they've both been fantastic all year. Looney has become one of our foundational pieces. He does this every single night. And I think one thing that we've seen in almost every series is as the game goes on and players get tired, Loon gets more and more rebounds. He just has a knack for the ball. Really long arms, great feel for the game. And so his rebounding, I think he had 14 tonight, bunch of offensive boards. really a big key for us. And then, without Andre, we needed every ounce of effort from Alfonso. And, we didn't want to extend Sean Livingston's minutes. Played 21, which is already a high number. Up 3-0, going into tonight. So when we went overtime, we just decided let's give Zoe the minutes, and he came through in a big way.
Steve, Nick Friedel, ESPN. In this era, how would you put into context what it means to go to the NBA Finals for the 5th straight season?
I hope it doesn't go unnoticed or underrated. 5 straight finals hasn't been done since the 60s, since Bill Russell's Celtics. Hasn't been done for a reason. It's really, really difficult. And so I just can't say enough about the competitive desire of the group of players that we have here and the culture that they've built together. Playing together regardless of injury. We've had, being without Kevin these last 5 games has put us in a really tough spot, and our guys stepped up in a big way. A couple of years back, we were without Steph for over a 2-year period. I think he missed like 12 playoff games, and we won 9 of them. So the group has a fiber to them where when guys go down, they find a way to come together and compete and win. Starts defensively. If you can defend at a high level in the playoffs, you always have a chance. But I just think the experience of winning titles helps you in these moments, and it helps you continue to move forward and come away with victories like tonight.
Steve, Mark Schwartz, ESPN. Terry Stotts mentioned championship pedigree when he walked in here, and I wonder if you can kind of drill down into what exactly that is and the trust between your players, namely the great pass by Steph when he was trapped to Draymond for a 3.
Yeah, I mean, I think the championship pedigree, what that means is not panicking in big situations and trusting your teammates, trusting what you're doing out there. I almost called a timeout halfway through that possession because it looked like nothing was happening. And, Draymond just did what Draymond does. He hits big shots. There's a guy who hit 5 threes in Game 7 of the finals a few years ago. When nobody else could make a shot, he made 5 threes. He's not even a three-point shooter. So Draymond is just a big game player. Steph trusted him, and that was obviously the shot of the game.
Jamie Goldberg from the Oregonian. Steve, Damian Lillard obviously has been battling a rib injury throughout this series. What did you think of his performance against you guys tonight to keep the Blazers in this game?
Well, I thought he was great. I thought the game softened up when Myers Leonard started making threes. We had to make some adjustments, and as soon as we did that, Damian's eyes lit up. He started to see single coverage, and he got going. And so I felt like, he got loose, and it obviously made things really difficult on us. So he had a fantastic game. So did CJ. I mentioned Myers. So they all had it going, but we found a way. And I think over the course of the game, it just gets tougher and tougher to make shots. When you're playing big minutes, you're going into overtime. And so our defense, I think, eventually kicked in. Our guys did a great job.
Front row, please.
Steve, Mark, Medina Bay Area News Group. Obviously, Steph's and Draymond's talent speaks for itself, but what makes them a unique tandem in terms of their chemistry together and their leadership approaches?
Well, they've been playing pick and roll together for 5 years, more than that, 7 years, I guess. And Draymond is an amazing playmaker, and Steph is so lethal that he's going to draw a lot of attention. So they have a real knack for working the pick and roll together, finding openings, and then attacking. And they're both great passers as well. So they're fun to watch. They're they're kind of made for each other from a basketball standpoint, and they've been doing this for a long time, so they've got a real feel for each other.
Front row left, right here.
Ethan Strauss, The Athletic. A lot of coaches shrink their bench in the playoffs, but in this series you really expanded it. What was the thinking behind that? Why that approach?
Well, we had to. When you're missing Kevin Durant, you can't replace Kevin with one guy. We had to replace him with 3 or 4 night after night, and then tonight without Andre, we had to find more minutes. So it was a good series for the bench. They did a fantastic job, and we I think mixed and matched and tried to find combinations that worked, and a lot of guys really played well over the course of the series, and that was a big reason for the series win.
Last question for Coach, anyone? Thank you.
Thanks.
Are you guys going to fly me down for the finals?
Absolutely.
Okay, I'll hold you to that.
I'll pay for the ticket myself.
Let's get together after this is over.
Hey, Raymond, I got to buy his flight to the finals. Right here. I ain't paying for your hotel, though.
I can do that.
All right, respect.
All right. Can you talk about the defense that you guys came up with? You held them to, I think it's 22 points in the fourth quarter and overtime. Coach was talking about how the defense was a little soft, but it kicked in. What was the mentality? What got you to where you wanted to be there?
I think we just finally, put them under a little duress. The entire game, they were getting wherever they wanted to go. Obviously our game plan was to get the ball out of Dame and CJ hands. They was getting everything they wanted, and everyone else was. And so we knew if we wanted to have a chance to win that game that we was going to have to make a stand defensively, and that's what championship basketball is all about. May not be able to do it for 48 minutes, but if you can lock in most when it matters, we could live with those results. And we gave ourselves a chance, and we was able to pull it out.
On your left, front row.
Hey, Draymond, Mark, Medina, Bay Area News Group. Can you take us through your 3 leading up to it with Steph setting you up, and then your emotions toward the bench afterwards?
My emotions toward their bench or our bench? I knew obviously in that situation we want Steph to have the ball. We want Clay taking the shot in that situation, but they were swarming him. And so I was just talking to him like, watch out. And he passed me the ball, I just let it go. But when I shot it, it felt good. And, obviously their coaching staff was letting me shoot the entire series. I didn't really shoot much, but threes. But they were giving it to me the entire series. And, I had hit that one in the corner, so it was feeling good. Once I let that one go, just thankful it went in. And, I didn't say much to their bench, but I was just jumping looking at Dave over there on the bench. And then our emotion with our bench, obviously, is always great to share those moments with our guys.
On your left, please, third row.
Hey, Draymond, Phil Barber, Santa Rosa Press, Democrat. I think you guys were down by 17 again in this one. This is a hard place to play. There wouldn't have been any shame if you guys had lost this one game, gone back to Oakland and wrapped it up there. So what are you thinking when you're 17 down, and what is it that can drive a team under those circumstances to have the confidence and the intensity to come back again?
Well, we know we can cover 17 points in a matter of 3-4 minutes. And so we always try to keep that mindset that we're never out of the game, and we just need to make solid plays. It definitely helps to have number 30 who, they go up 17 and he hits a 3. It just kind of puts them back on their heels, and it shifts the momentum for us. We just really understand what we're capable of on both sides of the basketball, and, we're never out of the fight. And that's just always our mindset.
Draymond, even though Mark Schwartz, ESPN, even though Steph was swarmed in that moment, the trust between you and him has been built over a long period of time. Can you talk about that trust and how that created a moment like that for you two, and how that formed and has been nurtured?
Well, I think, he's shown that trust in me over and over again, whether it's, giving me the ball right there in that spot. But even more so, there's been several situations, especially in this series, where down the stretch they're throwing 2 guys at him, and he's getting rid of the ball to me. trusting me to make a play, whether that's go score, whether that's make a play for somebody else. He always shows that trust in me. Obviously, that is built over time. But I'd say we've probably had that type of trust since about 2015. And it's always great to have a guy of Steph's stature who, if he takes that shot, no one's going to be mad, nobody's going to complain. But for him to throw me that ball in that situation, it helps with my confidence as well.
First row on the right.
Draymond, Matt Schneiderman, Barry News Group. What did you think of the job Alfonso did stepping in for Andre? I think he only had 2 rebounds, but both came in overtime.
He was huge. He got off to a good start. He was able to knock a 3 down. He got, a couple baskets, going to the rim for us. And he was good on the defensive end. He's brought that energy for us all year. When he gets in the game, he gets us extra possessions. And, he came up with 2 big rebounds there in overtime. And, Coach trusted him to be in there in that moment, and, he came up big for us.
Draymond, Paul Antunes, ESPN Brazil. 5 straight finals. Hasn't been done since the Celtics in the 60s. Is this the ride of a lifetime for you?
It's incredible. It's definitely, basketball careers aren't that long. If you can get 10 out of it, you're lucky. And so, to be the 5 straight finals, I don't even know what to say about it. This is what you play for. This is our goal every year, and to get here 5 straight times is special. And saying that, we still have more work to do. The goal is never just to get to the finals. The goal is to go win the finals. With these 9 days off, we definitely want to get our guys healthy. We need to get Andre back healthy, DeMarcus and Kevin. We need those guys going into the finals. And, that's our hope, that we can get all 3 of those guys back moving forward. But in saying that, we've had guys step up all along. This entire time. And, we're going to look forward to those guys continuing to step up no matter what happens with the injuries that we have. But, we're trying to go win this thing. It's never the goal just to get there. I've been to a finals and lost. It's no fun. So, trying to get it done.
Portland, an impressive run comes to an end at the hands of the Warriors. Dame Lillard, Myers Leonard at the podium.
Drew Danubi, Sports Radio 1029 The Game. Myers, obviously a bit of a bittersweet feeling given the playoff career high that you achieved in the first half tonight, and with the arena rocking, chanting your name at one point, and yet the season losing. Can you just describe what you're feeling at this moment?
What you said, I suppose, describes it well. It's definitely bittersweet for me. I'm thankful to the staff for them having faith in me and confidence in me to step in game 3 and 4 and do my best to help us win. I just went out there and played confident. Teammates such as Dame on down the line tell me to be aggressive and do what I do. It's unfortunate that our season's over. This is a very special team. Guys that really care about each other, guys that come to work every single day ready to go. And, personally, it's just back to the drawing board, I suppose. It was, I suppose, a fun couple of games for me, but it's not about me. It's about the team and about us figuring out ways to win, and just got to move forward, I suppose.
Front row on your right.
Jared Cowley, KGW. This question is actually for both of you, and it might be a little early to ask this without time to reflect on it, but this is the farthest you've played in the playoffs, getting to the conference finals. What did you both learn about playing at this level of competition this deep into the playoffs?
Like you said, it's the furthest we've played into the postseason, and that's a little bit deeper water than what we've seen. It's a little bit more physically and mentally trying. The level of play is higher. It's more on the line, and teams, they take their scouting reports and the detail to the next level. And I think it was a great experience for us. A lot of people will look back at it and say, they got swept, but we had a double-digit lead in the last 3 games, and just wasn't able to hold on to it. So I think we showed that we're capable of being here and competing at this level. But it's definitely different.
To piggyback off what Dame said, this is a great experience for us. Obviously, this is not the way we wanted to finish the season. give the Warriors credit. They've kind of been there, done that, obviously. And, they're able to sustain a certain level of play and execution that clearly allowed them to find their way back in, like Dame said, the last 3 games. I think it was 15 plus maybe in 3 straight games, and yet they found a way to execute and get the job done. So, I know after being here for 7 years, I couldn't be more proud of what we did, but now it's, time to, take the summer, get better, come back as a collective unit and be ready to go next year. But like Dame said, this is a great experience for us. We know we can play with the elite teams in this league, and I think this is our first time in 19 years, so that's pretty special. This is a city that embraces our team, embraces this organization, and, it was, for me personally, it was incredible, honestly, to be out on the floor and to feel that feeling, but now we have to find a way to take another step.
Second row here on the left. Mike Richmond, NBC Sports. For both you guys, when you reflect in a couple weeks, what will be sort of the lasting memory from this season? Is there a moment that will stick with you?
I don't think it's one moment that'll stick with us. I think just looking at the season overall, I think it was just a special season for us. We coming off back-to-back sweeps. I mean, it's another sweep, but he'd rather be swept in the Western Conference Finals than in the first round. I just think we look back at the season overall and the way we responded, after a lot of people, got on our cases. A lot of people came down on us, and we got back to work. Each guy came back better individually, and we put together a great season. And we lose our owner. We dealt with injuries. Nurk out for the season. CJ missed a lot of games at a crucial stretch in the season. And we just kept answering the call. And that takes a group for guys to, maybe go from not playing minutes, stepping up, giving us good minutes, trusting each other, leaning on each other. It takes a real group to be able to come together in those hard times on more than one occasion. And I thought we did that. And, we put together a great season, and we put ourselves in position to go to the finals. I think every other team in the league would, wish they could be in our shoes, not only making the playoffs, but getting the opportunity to play for a chance to go to the finals. And we just ran up on a team who's been there the last 4 years. And, when it came time, they were a player down, and they executed. They were sharp. They did everything a level up, from what we did. And they was able to come out on top. But I think we can look back at it and see a lot of moments where guys stepped up to the plate from top to bottom on our roster and allowed this type of season to happen.
Casey Holdahl, Trailblazers.com. Damian, going into this playoff series, we had talked a little bit about kind of the idea that you needed to go out and show something to kind of get the respect that kind of some of the people at your same echelon get. So how do you look back at your playoff performance now throughout the entire postseason?
I thought I had a great playoff performance. Obviously, the first round was great by our team. I thought I performed great in the first round. In the second round, I think because of how I played in the first round, I got a lot more attention. Everything I did, it was, bodies. They just wanted to make me work, picking me up full court, guard me a lot more physical. But I thought even in the second round, I was just really productive. Maybe in the past, if I wasn't scoring the ball, I wouldn't have had as much of an impact on the game as I did even in that series. But I still thought I scored a lot in that series. Like I said, I impacted it. And then coming into this series, like I said earlier, teams, the detail is much sharper. The scouting report is much sharper. And I think even in this series, they just, they sent bodies at me. I was seeing 2 guys, and if I got past that layer of the defense, it was another guy waiting. Draymond playing free safety the whole series. So, I think given this being the furthest we've played into the postseason, how teams, came after me and still being able to find a way to be productive. I thought I had a great postseason. Obviously, I look back at the times where I struggled the most, and I'm gonna critique myself off of that. But I think overall, I had a great postseason.
Hang on, man. Let me just say something real quick. Dame and I have been here together 7 years, and I study a lot of film. And for anyone who thinks that, you know, he wasn't productive or he should have made more shots or he should have scored more, go watch the film. They throw a lot of bodies at him. Even if he gets blitzed, like he said, he's getting downhill. There's guys on the help side that are essentially saying, Damian Lillard, you are not going to beat us. So I just want to make sure the naysayers know how much of an impact he has, how great of a leader he is, and his willingness to find the next man and count on them to make a play. And it's as simple as that.
Kerry Eggers, Portland Tribune. Dame, I'm going to give you a chance to say something nice about the guy next to you who 26 games did not even play this season. Coach's decision was in and out of the rotation, gets into the starting lineup last game, plays well. But tonight, what can you say about what he did?
I mean, I think tonight, you know, it was special. You know, I just remember in the first half, I looked up and in my mind, I remembered him just making a bunch of shots. And then I looked up and it was like, this dude got 25 points. And I was like, he really killing right now. And I had never seen him have like a moment like that, you know, and what better time than, you know, for him to have that type of moment. So I was excited for him. And I think that just goes into what I said earlier. All season long, we've had things happen and guys have had to step up. And he's a prime example of that, you know, not just this year, but just over the last 7 years. A lot of people have had a lot to say about him and what he doesn't do, what he should do, and all those things. And as NBA players, people get online and they say things, and you know they don't really know what goes on behind closed doors. They say things without knowing, but not taking into consideration that, you know, we people. And we go home to families and friends and kids like everybody else, and they just beat you down. And I think he's been through that. So to see him have a moment like he had tonight, and being here with him from day one, you know, nobody was more happy for him than I was. And it was a great night for him. I just wish it would have been a win, you know, so people could really, give him that credit for that performance.
Jamie Goldberg from the Oregonian. Damian, you obviously were playing through injury for a good part of this series, but tonight it looks like you left it all on the court. What mindset did you have to be able to battle that fatigue, that injury, and play like you did tonight?
I mean, I've had worse injuries. I think it's as simple as that. I've had worse injuries, so I didn't come into the game saying, "Oh, I'm playing through the injury." You know, it was something that, you know, yesterday at practice, I shot the same. I, you know, did the same stuff I always do. So obviously it's there. It's pain, but it's not something that's impacting what I'm doing on the floor. You know, I think that's the best way to put it. I've played through worse things, but I think just fatigue. You know, just all of the attention. After 82 games, this being the deepest we've played, and teams are, you know, coming after you, and that takes energy to deal with that and to make plays and to try to score and go to the other end and, you know, chase guys around and stuff like that. That takes energy. So I think, like I said, it was there. Obviously, it's pain, but it's not something that affected anything involving like my performance or me having to leave it all out there. I was going to leave it all out there the same way if I was 100% healthy. But, you know, that's just what it was. I went out there, season was on the line, I did what I could.
Last question, second round.
Dave, Mark Schwartz, ESPN. You guys are so connected, and for a team like that to come in here 3 straight times, really, and overturn a 17-type deficit in the second half, what is it about them that allows them to do that against a group like you, and what are the intangible qualities you saw in them throughout this series?
I mean, they've got great players. You know, I think the first thing everybody looks to is the shot making. So you say, you know, Steph and Clay, they, you know, shooting the ball all over the place. But, I mean, Draymond Green, he's nonstop talking on the court. He's rebounding the ball. He's basically the point guard of the team. He's pushing the ball. He's making plays. He's calling out our plays. I mean, he's controlling everything for them. And I think because he's always so vocal, always on top of everybody, always kind of managing everything for them, it keeps them consistent. You know, they steady. And I think for us, we game 2 and game 3, we were great for 3 quarters, but the 1 quarter where we weren't, it was the 3rd quarter. And, you know, they made big runs in the 3rd quarter, and I think that was when they got back into the game each time. So I think just how steady they were, you know, I think that shows in the championship team. It's whether they down, whether they up, they do the same things. They play the same way. The ball is hopping around. They moving around. They screening. Everything is sharp. They defending every possession. They rebounding the ball. Hands active. And I think we did a lot of those things when we were winning the games. But then the second that we stopped doing those things or relaxed, they were still doing it. And they made up ground. And it led to 2 threes in a row. Then we get a foul, 2 free throws, offensive rebound, 3, and before you know it, you was up 15. Now it's a 3-point game, and they feeling good. So I think just how steady they are, and I think that's led by Draymond Green.